Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I started very early on. I was 16, and since then, my workplace, my learning environment, my university has been the world. I can really well relate to the terms like nomad or something like a free agent. That's what I've been for the time I've been an entrepreneur. I create my own company as my own university, as my own learning environment, in which there is no limits. The limit is really my own ability to deliver every day something that was better than yesterday. So the Latin word universitas, which where university comes from, means the whole world total. And I think that's what the digital dimension enables us. Learning and knowledge is no longer residing in buildings. It is something that if you want to interact with the most impressive people, with those who can really, engage with you and are interested in your learning, you can find those people online. And I'm a sort of a Renaissance man in that sense. But because of my age, I'm turning 30 this year, I'm also part of the so-called net generation, the generation that has been growing up with technology. And the media that we use has been interactive since very early on, young age, basically. So internet and mobile are expecting some kind of response when you are interacting with them. And as we move to touch-based interfaces, the media you experience is through which you also experience space, through which you also experience workplace, and the way how you also expect a learning environment, like a classroom, to behave when you enter it. These ideas of media have been discussed extensively by people like Marshall McLuhan, who was a media theorist, a Canadian media theorist, and he came up with terms like medium is the message or medium is the massage. You are pretty much what media you use. He was more interested in the context, not the content of the media. And one thing that he pointed out when he was looking at electronic medium as an extension of the nervous system, an extension of the mind, was also that today each of us lives several hundred years in a decade. And I want to see if this is true. So I've been sort of a maniac in collecting different kinds of data about my life as well. And here are some examples of how many meetings and how many emails I'm receiving every day. And this is based on normal, working days. Of course, as an entrepreneur, I'm working on weekends, on evenings right now. So, but if I was going back to a normal sort of industrial era kind of working pattern, it means that 8 hours of my day would be sitting in different kind of meetings, and the rest of the day goes into emailing about those meetings. And if you ask yourself, what do you do for a living? You are not necessarily a CEO anymore. You are an emailer or a meeting goer or something like this. Half of the month goes into sitting in different kind of meetings and those related things to those, or sending email or receiving email about those things. But I want to point out one thing about technology to you guys, and that is that technology is a Trojan horse. It comes as a gift in, and we expect it to solve all our problems. Organizations, we think that this technology is going to save us time and make things more efficient and effective, and this is what the guys who are selling you all this technology are saying. But at the same time, it's a Trojan horse. It comes in, and you become the slave of the technology, not the way around. The technology was supposed to be the one which is taking care of the heavy lifting of your day-to-day activities. But really, we become slaves of the technology. And I think many of you can relate to the idea that you are slaves of email inbox and responding to those things there. And I want to say to you about meetings one thing. Technology, even though that we can interact and meet each other online, meetings are not going to go away. Actually, technology is enabling us to meet more than before. It's so easy in Facebook or other social media channel to just, ask someone, your friend, why don't we meet someday? We haven't met for a long while, and suddenly you have a meeting set up. And that's what we want to do. We want to interact face to face, and we want to keep up with other people and their issues, and also to broadcast and tell other people what we are doing on a daily basis. So social media is a vector for more and more meetings, and Facebook is not going to save us here. If you look at email, what email is, it's not really a messaging protocol like Paul Graham says. He says it's a to-do list. And it's a shitty to-do list because everyone can put, tasks on your to-do list. They can just send you an email and it comes in as an unstructured way. And one sort of big part of email communication nowadays at the workplace is related to scheduling meetings and finding a suitable time, sending the materials, all the agenda stuff, and so on and so forth. And I think, we have to be conscious about these things, how we prioritize things that come in. I think email, the amount of email is just going to increase. I'm using social media more than ever. Number of meetings have gone up. You have to think consciously about how you organize those things and how the information flow goes around those channels. I like what Dave Barry has to say about meetings. If you had to identify in one word the reason why the human race has not achieved and never will achieve its full potential, that word would be meetings. And I think that is right. And if you ask a lot of people, what do they think about meetings, oftentimes they think, those are pretty boring, long-lasting, kind of not very well-prepared settings. And my friend, management consultant, Esko Kilpi, says that on all physical meetings there are more or less the wrong people present. And guys, if you add more people into it, it's not going to solve the problem, really. So if you look at meetings, most of the people think that meetings are not necessarily that productive and effective. But the argument that goes on here, when you look at digital environments and online technology, is that digital environments, in those settings, there could be more or less the right people present. You can bring in people remotely into those settings. If something comes up in the meeting, you can just quickly tweet about it or ask on Facebook or Google it, and suddenly you have someone there to give you an answer. You don't have to set up another meeting to solve the problem. But one thing that is important to think about in the context of meetings is a calendar. And a calendar is a very linear point of view of day-to-day activities. But every knowledge worker today knows that the work today is a simultaneous happening. You might be in a meeting, but at the same time you are updating your Twitter channel, you're answering some email. And sometimes, long-lasting board meetings are the best places to get the work done, because you don't have time otherwise during the day. So today is a simultaneous happening. Many different events are happening simultaneously, and we have to learn new ways to coordinate this kind of life. And if you look at the devices that we use, iPads and iPhones and all of these, those are pretty empowering things. Technology used to be something that the organization provides to you, but nowadays people build their own IT environments. This is like something that could be explained as shadow IT. This is something that is not official part of what IT departments give to the people, but people just tailor to their own needs. And a device like this that has not just applications on it, but applications that are reside in the cloud, and behind those applications you have millions of people who are augmenting your day-to-day activities. This is how you sort of outsource your day-to-day work into the cloud, and you can use these devices in a very contextual way. They have sensors and know who is using them, and you can build all kinds of interesting things that are sort of augmenting your day-to-day activity. But technology is something which we have to think in the future. Technology like this, not as something, as a technology in itself, but just like pen or paper. You no longer think of a pen and paper as some kind of technology, but you think of those things, as a normal part of every meeting room. So in a similar way, the technologies that are most impressive, most profound are those that disappear. They weave themselves into the fabric of our reality, and so that it becomes indistinguishable of it. So this means that the surfaces we have, the tables, the walls, these will bring in information to those spaces that is not readily available there. So in the future you might have one meeting room that is based only for ideation, which brings in all the time new ideas on the walls that you use when you have the group of people in there. Or another room might be about customer orientation, in which you get real-time customer feedback coming in all the time. So when thinking about physical space and thinking about the third space, I think we have to understand that if you want to create the DNA for these spaces, so to say, that was referenced earlier today, you have to think of digital dimension as a natural part, a continuous part of the physical experience. It starts long before the meeting, then you have the actual meeting or event, and then it lasts long after it. So it's sort of a digital footprint of what is going on, who is going to meet each other, what is the agenda. And I come from the background of thinking about learning, and for learning one thing is very important, that is reflection. And a meeting agenda and the meeting notes we co-create together are the reflections of the event. Why are we coming together? Why is this meeting? Who are the people here? What is their role? And what is the results we expect? And what is my next action list and all of these. These are important things that often in many meetings actually are lost. People don't do them very well. So we have to start become conscious about when we meet, there is actually, the system that you use to organize, not email or people sending things, but something in which you have to think about the agenda first. And you have to think about, why are you inviting these people? And you have to think about how are we actually sharing with each other the notes that we co-create together. And this is why I created meetings, just as a personal, crusade to save myself from email and meetings. And this is a system that coordinates all of these meetings around your inbox, and it puts the meetings on the cloud. The old way for meetings was, sending email to each other, and everyone clicks reply all, and you get this work-related spam that no one really wants to be notified about things. But it's really hard to, come back to a conversation like this. If you want to look at a meeting that was 3 months ago, you are not searching for the meeting, you're searching for a certain person or a certain topic that was in the meeting from your email inbox, and it's really hard sometimes to find it. You can look into your calendar, but the calendar doesn't have the materials that were related to it. If you have a meeting and you suddenly notice that someone else needs to also share this context, you have to forward all the email that was accumulating and searching for that to brief the person about it. So we need some kind of space which is a continuous, a persistent space before, during, and after the meeting that enables you to find a suitable time together. It enables you to collaborate on the agenda and the notes together, and the materials should be easy to share. And there are many technologies out there for meetings, online technologies, but Skype, WebEx, all of these are only for online meetings. Then you have tools like Doodle for finding a suitable time, but you are back to emailing, the materials. So I think there is a missing component here that, just like some great note-taking tools, like Microsoft OneNote or Evernote, if someone of you use those tools, put all your notes into the cloud. All your meetings should be also on the cloud, easy to browse, easy to search. So this is how it looks like. So you have the materials there, you have the agenda, you have the participants. You can easily edit anything together. You don't have to, send your notes to an agenda, for example, for someone else to include in there, but you can do it yourself. And anything that's put in here can be browsed easily. You don't have to download any kind of Word documents or Excel documents to your computer. And you can comment anything that's in there. And it's in the cloud, and it's updating the other participants through email if they want. But it's done in a structured way that it's easy to come back to it. And if you put materials there, it's actually synchronizing all the materials into the cloud. So for example, if any one of you use Dropbox, it puts all your meetings into little folders, and all the materials are right there synchronized. While you're on the go, you don't have to open those attachments in email that people send related to the meeting. You can just open your Dropbox or your computer, it's on the hard drive immediately. So having this technology, we came together with Seats to Meet with Ronald and Vincent and others, and we started thinking, how can we, bring the third space alive in the meeting center, in the meeting rooms. It's already very much alive, you know, on the co-working spaces in the open with the Twitter back channels and all of this. But how do you extend the meeting experience also to the digital dimension? So sort of, from my perspective, it's about going beyond digital, you know, by entering the physical space and to create these kind of environments. So that's what we did, basically. This is from the developer server. So you book a meeting in a certain room, you pick up, you know, lunch, soda. You have seen this if you have organized meetings here. And yeah, you see the bill right there. Then you go forward and bang, there is now a button, your online meeting room is available on the right side, and you get the email also that has the link. You click it, it just asks if your time is correct, and that's it. You have your own online meeting space. For every physical meeting reservation, there is going to be an online room. So you can share materials easily with other people. You can edit the material together, you can preview them together, you can invite people from your address book, from your Facebook friends. We are also adding LinkedIn soon, so you don't have to remember the people's email addresses or anything like this. And that's it, basically, what we are doing. And here, and then you edit the agenda, and it will, you know, send all of this stuff to the participants easily. So it's about coordinating the meeting before, during, and after the meeting. Yesterday we recorded a little video, a sort of visionary statement with Ronald and Vincent about this. So what's the importance of this? I think these guys are even better than me to explain what this is all about. So this is what's in the next video.
I'm Ronald Vandenhoff, and I'm the co-owner of Seats2Meet.com. And Seats2Meet is a chain of co-working locations. And we have big plans. We have 38 locations now in the Netherlands, and we're expanding rapidly across the world.
Seats2Meet.com is an innovative concept who offers meeting spaces and workspaces, and we do that in a physical way as well in a virtual way. And what we do is that we offer workspaces, Wi-Fi, lunch, coffee and tea, and you can pay with us in two ways, financial capital as well as social capital. So instead of paying with euros, you can also pay with the knowledge you provide to the Seats2Meet.com network.
And Seats2Meet.com wants to be a chain of third space places. And those are basically the locations where the new value creation takes place. The world of organizing meetings is changing tremendously, because the exchanging of data, the exchanging of information, you don't need to be no longer face to face. I mean, that can be done using all kinds of virtual solutions. The digital dimension that meetings is bringing to the Seats2Meet product is that it takes away all the traditional hassle, as you would say, and it makes sure that there's a digital environment where you can have exchange already upfront a couple of things and informations and share things. You can even start already to cooperate with each other as such, so that when you come physically together, then you'll be much more effective, and basically you can start working on a personal level right away. You know each other, you have shared the information already, and in the old days a lot of time was spent on any physical meeting to go through the motions. Who are you? I'm this. What's the agenda? Did you read the reader? No, I didn't read it. Well, we have a break now of 10 minutes so people can read up, etc., etc. We still think in physical and virtuality as a separate thing. And we think if you're working in a value network with each other, you are continuously in a dialogue with your network.
When I look in the future, I think that we don't see physical meetings and virtual meeting as two separate concepts. I think they will be together as one.
Within 5 years, this will be a general accepted way of working by the marketplace, to put it that way. It's now new, it's innovative, it's every day we take a first step, which is a new step, but in 5 years there won't be irregular meetings anymore. And every meeting will be organized and will be held in the way as we have set together now this cooperation between meetings and Seats2Meet. So we are trendsetters.
So, yeah. Ronald made a very good point there about that in the future all meetings have this dimension. It comes naturally. And I think about meetings in a way that, the difference between digital and physical. We shouldn't think that, digital is sort of replacing now the physical interaction. It's not about that. It's actually enriching our physical interaction in ways that is not possible face-to-face. And we have to start respecting each other's time face-to-face, especially when we have so many meetings, so many stressful events. We have to become conscious about, how do we update each other's about what is that going to be about? The Facebook status update actually teaches us a very good lesson. A Facebook status update tells us, what I'm doing at this very specific moment. And this is something that at the workplace we have to start doing to each other through the digital means. So that when we come face to face, we are not using that time to update each other with physical status updates. We did that online already. So we come to make decisions, we understand the situation better. So we have to increase transparency within the organizations with each other. Other people can take initiative of the things that you do. When there is open information available, they can act upon. If there is no open information, you have to start briefing people. And the primary reason why people interrupt their own work, which is also resulting in productivity loss, the reason is that they don't have the information at hand that they need to complete the task, or they don't know what they are supposed to be doing. So this is something where we have to bring the digital dimension to. So I think of the digital as a sort of low bandwidth channel. So when we need more bandwidth, we come face to face, right? So it's actually, enriching. And so as a more or less sort of visionary statement, the work that I've been doing with one of my advisors, Esko Kilpi, is that thinking about the communication paradigm shift that is taking place. In the past, if I want to contact Ronald, I was actually contacting a physical space, a place. I send a snail mail or I call, a building's phone, and then I ask if Ronald there so I can speak to him. What the mobile phone did, it made all of this personal. And what email did, you can send each other basically updates and questions and all of this. It's not going through the building anymore. And we expect each other to be, at a certain, virtual building all the time, which means that you are someone who can be reached at any time. We take the work to home, we expect people to answer email in the evenings and all of this. This is a transition that happened. So the phone without the cord was not just, the mobile phone is not just a phone without the cord. It's actually something that made it very personal. It made you an address that can be reached very easily. But all of these technologies, communication technologies, were point-to-point communication technologies. So you define beforehand who you are actually sending some stuff to. But social media teaches us, and also creative work that we do today, it teaches us that we don't necessarily know beforehand who is the best person to have a meeting with or have a conversation with or something like this. So that's where you create a context. In social media and on YouTube might be a video that is framed with conversation and the ability to comment. And meetings is in a similar way a context that I create on the web. It's not based on a point-to-point communication technology like phone calls and email that usually happens between companies nowadays, but it's something of a space where you can easily invite other people for the meeting, even those who were not there but should see what happened. And also we have to, like this conference, like this event here, there are more or less the wrong people in this room at the moment, but there is more likelihood through the online means that there are the right people listening to these talks here. And I can never, and Ronald can never invite the right people here, right? And it's the same for everyday interaction at the workplace. So that's the communication paradigm shift. It's a bigger communication paradigm shift. We have come from the world of Morse code and smoke signals and email and letters and snail mail to this context-based communication world. And we don't yet understand very well how it works and how it could help us, but I believe that that is crucial as we go forward as individuals or organizations. So thank you very much.